Hello, this is Michelle Love, and you are listening to KPCALP in Petaluma, which is a free-range radio station and TV station. I hope you are doing fantastic today. You are listening to a show called Dynamic Change, and within this show, I provide wellness techniques for healing certain emotional blocks, and I do a lot of mindful techniques and guided meditations to help us release stress and develop new patterns in life that will make us feel better. And I am a certified wellness coach, self-defense instructor, fitness trainer, and I have a degree in psychology. I have over 30 years experience working in the wellness field, and I have also worked in mental health. So basically what I would like to share today is looking at some mindful techniques, some guided meditation, and some ways to look at what our thinking is focusing on. So I want to talk about fear today. If you would like more information on me, you can go to my website, which is dynamiccangewellness.com. dynamiccangewellness.com. And there you can get more information about me and all the classes that I teach and everything. So today, I think fear is a really big issue. I think it's always been a big issue. I think stress has been pretty high in society. So I would like to really talk about what are we focusing on? What we think about is extremely powerful. If we focus on stressful thoughts or things that make us feel stressed or feel like we can't be in our power, that feel scary, that produce fear, these things are going to make us not feel well. And the more we can regulate our thinking towards things that we want to feel, things we want to create in our lives, things that we know are going to make us feel happy, that's going to help us feel whole within ourselves. So when we are consumed by fear or feel at the mercy of it, it creates more negativity in our lives. And there's no healthy power in fear. And in my opinion, there's not even unhealthy power in fear. It really just erodes people's sense of self and well-being, and is not a healthy pattern to be subjected to feel at the mercy of. And so I would like to discuss that today, do some guided techniques, mindful techniques for releasing fear from your psyche, from your mind, from the subconscious, right? By very deliberately, very strongly focusing your intention upon how you want to feel. So first I would like to start with, I think control is a huge part of fear. So sometimes people use fear to kind of control things with other people. It's not helpful. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. I mean, not ultimately, in my opinion, because the people that would be affected by that control are not coming from their whole being in that moment. That's coming from kind of a broken experience. It's not coming from a place where they wanted to listen or wanted to participate. And so you don't get 100% of a person anyway, right? So even when we're not having the best moment and we get angry, or we're trying to control a particular outcome, and which I believe often comes from a place of fear, we're trying to find a way to contain that, to change it, to shift it. it's not 100% effective because what we are trying to control, usually a person, an outcome, again, it's coming from a place that breaks down somebody's will, maybe, that, so we're not getting 100% of someone's presence, someone's sharing of themselves, someone sharing of their mind, someone emotionally being available. Fear does not create full connection. It does not create a full, like an opening, right? Because fear creates constriction. It creates a closing down. It creates pressure on your heart. It creates, when it's projected at other people, it creates stress and worry, tightness on the heart, avoidance. People are not going to want to connect with that. So I think ultimately people want connection. I think ultimately they want to feel safe, and they want to feel like they can manage their lives as not just this out of control thing in their environment, within society, within their relationships. So to have as much openness and connection and love and feeling safe, I want to talk about releasing fear. So, fear often is about things we can't control. Okay, so if we look at, and again, we can make a list. I like to give you as many tools as possible. Some people are heavy thinkers, some people are visualizers, and some people are artistic and expressive, but I want to give you as many modalities as possible. So I think making a list of things that push the fear button within you and write it down, okay? And just to get it out and look at, are there any things on that list that you can tackle and change, right? So I'm going to give some examples. So let's say if we're a parent and there's certain fear around our kids feeling safe enough. I'm a mom, so I talk a lot from my experience. But what I would recommend is, what can I do to empower that situation? Would I talk with my kid about maybe trying some martial arts? Would I even think, oh, maybe I'll do those martial arts with my kid? How amazing is that? Because that'll address your fear. That'll address your kids' feeling of being competent to be in their body and be strong, right? So, and have boundaries and have discipline and understand physicality with others in a very safe, appropriate way. Maybe, I want to take some sports with my kids, because if I see them being strong in their bodies, it alleviates my concern about their physical capabilities, in the world, within themselves. So, there's ways where we look at people of what constitutes them looking safe and competent, confident, and secure within themselves. So, for example, as a parent, if I was feeling worried about my kid, I would think, okay, what can I do to empower this kid so I can release my fear? Because if we're projecting fear, not only is it not helpful for us, but other people feel it. And it doesn't have a good feeling to it. it's kind of scary feeling. And that's fear is just that produces stress within our organs, within our body, within our mind, and it makes us feel powerless, right? So it's just not going to help anybody involved. Okay, so if we're looking at our kids, for example, right? So if we're looking at, okay, I want to empower my kid so I know that they're going to be able to handle the stresses of life, of the world. So I would look at what physically makes them feel strong within their bodies. So then I would also, and I like participating with them. I think I did that with my kid, and I did martial arts with them. It's extremely empowering, and not only that, it allows you guys to kind of work out annoyances you may have with each other, because you get to spar a little bit, or and it's so healthy because no one's getting hurt. It's like you know giving an outlet for frustration. Sometimes we do not know how to work out certain things with our loved ones, and it's tricky, right? So anyway, I think it creates a very safe container and a healthy way to kind of just process some things that we may not know how to articulate. So martial arts, very helpful. Sports, very helpful. And boundaries. So one of the things when I work with kids and parents is I really encourage them encouraging their kids to have a strong voice, to be able to express themselves so that they can articulate their feelings and feel safe within themselves, because they know how to say what they need and set boundaries for themselves. Very, very, very helpful. So, there's certain ways to seek out those types of techniques. And sometimes it's good to make a list of, these are the things that make me feel afraid. This is a way I could start expressing myself to create some boundaries for myself with those things. So, like with a kid, I think it's very helpful to, like, if you're, perhaps you have a teen, right? And you're talking with this teen about creating safety for themselves in situations. And I've always told my kid, you can always make me the bad guy. So if they're in a situation with their peers that they don't know what to do with, they're like, this is starting to feel uncomfortable, this is starting to feel like I need some more boundaries for it, I have no idea how to get out of it, I said, you text me and say, Mom, call me right now and tell me I'm grounded and I have to come home. Like, create a situation that gives them an easy out, right? So doing something like that where they can ask for help. And so the way this could help a parent with fear is empowering your kid to have tools so you don't have to worry about them. So having a plan around things that create fear. I'm going to give you an out. You can always call me up and just say, get me out of this situation. Tell me I'm in trouble. I have to come home right now. And so it sounds bad. It sounds serious. Get me out of this situation. So I always did that with my kid. And they used it. They were grateful for it. And they said, thank you, Mom. Because, wow, I don't even know what was going on there. And I needed to be able to back up from the situation. And I needed to be picked up or, something. So that's a powerful one. You can enroll them in martial arts. Sports is very helpful. But doing things that give them some ways to handle things that parents cannot control. So I'm giving you an example of how fear can be expressed in a parenting role, right? So, having kids understand self-defense, having kids understand how to be street smart, having kids how to understand. I tell the parents, like when I teach self-defense, when I talk to the kids, I always tell them, I think a really powerful thing to do for your kid, even if it's not what you're doing, to have your kid be able to say, you know, my parents test me, so I can't, like, I just can't do it. They're so strict, they will ground me for 10 years. Like, you know, those kinds of fibs, in my opinion, are okay. Sometimes you have to get creative, to give your kid an out to handle situations. And then you know that you've prepared them to have as many resources as possible. You've communicated some really tricky stuff to navigate. We all know what the tricky stuff is. We just don't know how to handle it a lot of the time, right? So what I have found, for example, with parenting, is you think of all the things you don't want to think about, and how can I, problem solve. So when I work with parents and I work with teens and I work with kids, is I try to think, how can I empower that particular issue so the kid feels they have as much ammunition as possible to handle and contain situations that could end up being scary, for one thing. And then also empower the parents to have as many tools as possible to handle it. Because the way you handle fear is to educate yourself, have an action, like a plan in place. You got to do something to offset the fear, to contain it, to empower yourself, right? So that's my example for parenting type of things. And that's what I did as a parent, is I constantly looked at, what can I do to empower my kid, because I will not be able to be there for every moment, right? And it's can be a scary thing as a parent, right? So how can I continuously empower my kid? So for me, I encouraged my kid to have a voice when they communicated with me. They still had to listen to me, but I never tried to tell them they could not say their thoughts around a topic that we were working out with each other. I always worked on my own ability to listen and sometimes step back and listen. So, having a kid having a strong voice, communicating to them about boundaries with their body, if things are upsetting to them with their peers, giving them examples of how to take space, things that they can say, where the kid can say that I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. I have a lot of homework to do. My mom needs me to get my chores done. Give them outs, give them ways to get out of situations. I can talk to you tomorrow. And then they can come home and process. Maybe tell your kid, if something feels tricky, you don't know what to do with it, write it down. And if you want to talk with me, we can talk about it. But it's like, just writing things down can help people process and organize. The whole journaling thing is helpful. And so I would tell a kid, you can write it down, you can journal about it, maybe do some art around it. Say, I really felt uncomfortable with what my friend said. That didn't feel right at all. I kind of felt like they were putting me down. And so, have them, maybe try and do some art around it if they're artistic kids, or go for a walk, or, do something to help them process in their body, process in their mind. The art helps the emotional body and the subconscious process things. So empowering the kids lets the parent feel some ease around being fearful that their kid won't be safe. So that's an example for parenting. So you can apply this to everything in life. So if we look at a loved one, like a spouse that is really struggling and really processing some heavy things for them, and they're it's really painful to watch, right? And we can't control it. So that's the thing. Fear comes up because we cannot control things, right? We're scared of it. So we have to find a way to disengage from wanting to control things that we can't. And that's really a big thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. How can we let those things go? So one of the things I do is, so let's say I'm dealing with somebody that I, really care about, and I'm really having a hard time with something that they do that I feel is very negative for them. I'm really concerned on, are they going to be able to shift themselves around this? And, how can I release my fear, my desire to control it, and just really realize there's nothing I can do. Very frustrating, don't like it at all, but, I can spin my wheels, waste my energy, project fear, which is not going to feel good to anybody involved, and it's going to deplete myself. It's going to probably make them uncomfortable. We're all going to feel yucky in the end, right? So how can I let that go? So what I do is I will have a conversation, usually with that person, and let them know, I love you. I know how strong you are as a person and how intelligent you are. And this particular pattern that you're doing, this behavior, I feel it's unsafe, and I'm really concerned, and I want to talk to you about this. And sometimes they don't want to hear it, and maybe that's all you can say is, I trust you will find a solution. But I'm going to hold the mindset, so this is mindfulness, in my mind, that you are going to heal this in you. You're going to find the support group. You're going to find the healthy behavior. You're going to start taking care of your body. You're going to start looking for a hobby that's going to be positive for you, that's going to help shift you, help you feel better. You're going to find a therapist. You're going to maybe volunteer at the shelter and help the animals, and it's going to help you. Or you're going to, volunteer with it, maybe horses or something that's going to give you something to help you feel better, and it's an activity to shift it, right? So I've done that with people where I've pulled away and say, this is really more than I can process. Like, I'm just getting so upset because I love you so much and I can't watch it. And it was creating a response in me, like a fearful response of something I couldn't control. And I had to step back, and I told them that. I said, in order to take care of myself, I'm going to step back. When you're ready to take action and shift this, I'm there for you. If you need help, like someone to drive you to that support group, or if you want to join me for a walk at the beach, because these are the things that help regulate us. If you need someone to drive you to the therapist, I'm there. But if you just want to communicate and tell me, or make, if I just have to feel like I'm witnessing you not taking care of yourself and doing harmful things, I can't do that. But I can hold this love for you. I can hold this vision in my mind, my focus, my supportive focus of that you are going to be healing. That I will do for you, and taking action to support you moving forward. So there's amount of surrender in that. Very, very hard. I have done it in my life. It is not an easy thing. This is a big ask, but it is so powerful. When I have done it in my life, in very, very, very just like bring me to my knees kind of situations, these people always got it together. It really worked. I was so grateful. People that I couldn't have loved more. So stepping back, surrendering it, right? and empowering them by saying, I know you can do it. I'm there for you if you need some help, but you got to start moving towards that plan, right? So, I'm going to give you a lot of different scenarios, and then we're going to do some guided meditations around this. Again, my name is Michelle Love. The name of this show is Dynamic Change. You're listening to KPCALP in Petaluma, and what I'm talking about today is how we can release fear. How we can release fear and use some mindful techniques, some just ways to shift things in our life to let that fear go. And I'm looking at what produces fear in our life. Often it has to do with other people. So I'm giving you some examples of how to let that go, surrender, let that fear go, and we're going to create a positive, healthy focus. And I'm going to keep giving you some examples. So anyway, there's an example there. And so when I had to release people and tell them, I'm there for you. I can't, maybe I can't talk to you for a little while. Let's reconnect in a couple months. When I did that to people that loved me the way I loved them, they really felt it when I created that boundary of, I got to take care of myself by pulling back because it's too painful for me to watch what you're doing. When I did that, they made those changes and they decided, okay, I am ready to make a powerful step to shift something in my life and become healthy. And it's pretty amazing to have that gift of watch someone shift, someone you adore. So powerful. So by creating wellness for yourself, that boundary of, I'm not going to stay in this fearful place for this other person, is so powerful. The more we take care of ourselves, the more we can be 100% to actually help when we need to help. When that person comes back, maybe they come back in a few months and say, hey, I really appreciate you saying that. It was like a wake-up call. I really needed to create more safety for myself in my life. I really needed to find some help. I really needed to develop a plan. And, now I can tell you about my plan and I feel so much better. Like I feel stronger. I feel, I took some steps and thank you. You pushed me a little bit in a healthy way just by taking care of yourself. Just by you creating a boundary of, I cannot live with this fear anymore. It's too much for me. Okay, so that's a way you could do it. When I've done that with people, what I do is in my mind, I focus on seeing them capable, seeing them strong. So I visualize it, I create it in my mind, and I put in my body the feelings of imagine how it would feel for that person to be safe. Because we have to start creating the support, the energy for it, the intention for it. It's like projecting fear. What does that do? Wow. What does that do? What we project is powerful. So let's project the most empowering, supportive, loving, kind thing we can. That is the focus. So I create it in my mind. I see it. And if they've never had it, how powerful it is for me to create that for them. Maybe they don't know how to do it, but I'm going to put it in my mind and I'm going to say, I'm going to see this and I'm going to support it and I'm going to develop it and feel it in my body. And when we create that knowing within our body for someone else, it helps create it for them. It really does. If we focus on negativity all the time, it supports negativity, right? We all know if we focus on negative thoughts, we feel like crap. Crap is awful. Ugh. Who wants to feel that? We want to feel good. So we have to vigilantly work on feeling good. And we all fall into our ruts of stress. We all fall into, uncertainty. It's normal. but it's unhealthy. We want to keep reaching towards the healthier thought, the healthier feeling, um, and project that into the world for our loved ones, for the community, for society, continuously reaching towards the better idea, the healthier expression, right? Because we're such amazing people, in my opinion. Amazing, creative, very interesting people. We want to share that creativity, that love, that positivity, and continuously redirect ourselves towards positivity and release that fear. Okay, so there's my example with a loved one. And so now I want to talk about, and so when I work on this, I work on my thoughts. Your thoughts and your emotions, they work together. So if we think, very deliberately, I would do this a lot when I was driving. I used to commute, and it was an easy commute. I'd done it so many times, right? I could, so your mind's thinking of something else because you've driven this road so many times. All the little bumps and all the little things. So I would just let my mind relax, and I would visualize in my mind the people in my life that I adore being powerful, being strong, being confident, healthy, really strong in their bodies, having good health, happy. And so I would just focus on it and focus on it and focus on it and make it, really a big thought. That's one of my other things that I created. When we have a fearful thought, I would think the opposite and focus on the opposite thought until it like extinguished the original fearful thought. And it really works. So again, I'm going to go back to the parenting thing. It's an easy thing. We can all relate, but you can, also it's applicable to anything, but a loved one, our kid, spouse, whoever, but someone that we're scared for them for some reason. Okay, so I'm gonna again do a parenting example. So like if your kid has been really sick, or they get sick easy, or they have a condition, and it's really challenging as a parent not to have fear come up. I have been there. So this is actually something I totally created for myself and for exactly this. So if I was worried about my kid, I would see my kid as being so healthy. So like I would focus on their strength because I have a very powerful kid. So I would be like, okay, I'm having a mommy freak out moment. Not good, right? Freaking out. Okay. So what can I do to not freak out? Okay. I'm going to focus on how powerful my kid is. They're stubborn. Wow. They got that one down, right? But that can be a strength. So you focus, okay, they're strong. They know what they want. They're really healthy. And I would just see them being so healthy and so like persistent, because they are a persistent person. So I would see that even applied towards their health and their well-being, and that they wanted to eat good things and they wanted to go to bed at the right time, and they were resting when they needed to take a rest, and their body was just really healthy and very like had that strong constitution, because they had a strong constitution for their personality, right? A strong personality. So why wouldn't that apply to their health? That can be applied towards the health. It really can. So if someone has this strong personality, this strong sense of self, that can also be applied towards their health, right? So to me, you can make those two blend together. So I would see my powerful, amazing kid as being healthy, as having a strong constitution, and just fighting off those colds or whatever it was, whatever I was dealing with. And it was, and I would focus on it, and I would imagine it, I would feel it, and I would make that so big. No other thought was allowed. That was the focus. Do that for 10, 15 minutes. And I guarantee you, if you can be stubborn with your thoughts. I mean, like a laser, just focus, think, visualize it, feel it. You will realize you can let go of the fear. And I would train myself to let go of the fear. And it would go away. And anytime I'm like, oh, I'm indulging in the fear, I know better. I would redirect myself to that healthy, powerful thought. And it helps create it in your life. Your kid will feel that support. Like, wow, my mom is a powerhouse, man. I can feel she believes in me. She knows I'm the strong, healthy person. They feel it. Okay? So the more we can redirect our minds to focus on strength and focus on what's going to help us be strong in our lives, and hold that belief and thought and energy for the people we love, they're going to feel it. So that's what I would do. I would make that thought so big that eventually the other thought just goes away. It like dissolves. But it takes practice, it takes vigilance, and it takes persistence. So I'm asking you to tap into your inner strength. The next show, I'm going to talk about resilience, all right? On how to push through to the other side of feeling like you're in chaos. There's nothing you can do. Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. How do we get to the other side? We're going to talk about that the next show. But for this show, I'm going to continue working on fear. We're going to break fear down. Okay, we're going to cut it up. I'm done with it. So, when we're dealing with fear, do something that's empowering. Maybe you need to take martial arts. You could take self-defense. You could take, even doing Tai Chi, working on your energy body. Qigong is fantastic. Going for a hike makes you feel strong in your body. Lifting weights makes you feel strong. Things like that are empowering, right? Setting boundaries for ourselves are empowering. So anyway, we can make our list of things that make us feel afraid, and we can problem solve. Is there any way I can problem solve some of these things? What can I do that will make me feel stronger? Okay, can I start forcing myself to say no to certain things that contribute to me feeling fearful? Maybe I go along with someone in my life that they just feel negative. They feel like they push on my boundaries. They feel like they put me down. I feel not listened to. I feel they're really negative, and then like my emotional state doesn't feel good after being around them. So you can look at, these are the things I'm afraid of, and it might be scary to think, well, if I set some boundaries with that person, I know it would help me to not be connected to this person because it's producing some fear, some stress, but I don't know what to do with that. So but you can write it down, put it on the list. It's a goal. It's a goal you're gonna keep working towards, and in your mind you focus on, how can I start shifting that to where I can start feeling more in control. So another example I'm going to give you was when I was about 18 years old. I realized I was not good at saying no in general. Like my boundaries really, I needed to figure out boundaries. I just realized I didn't know how to do that. And if someone messed with someone I loved, man, I knew how to really step it up. I was really powerful and strong, but I needed to do it for me, right? And it didn't come up unless someone really, really pushed on me in a serious way. And I don't want things to have to get serious, right? In order to find that strength within myself. So I had to really look at that. And so forcing myself to have a voice, to say no, to be assertive. So I didn't have fear. I had to give myself an action and give myself verbiage on how to change situations that made me uncomfortable. So if you make a list, and if that shows up on your list of, I feel scared a lot because I have some really big negative dynamics, like some people that are really negative that cause me stress, or that they really like focusing on fearful things. Some people they thrive on that, right? And you're like, it really doesn't feel good, and I have no idea what to do with this, right? Sometimes we have to pull back from those people. That's another thing. Um, so developing some boundaries of, okay, I'm gonna start working on practicing in my mind. First of all, I'm gonna text that person. It's much easier than like face-to-face confrontation, and say, you I'm gonna take some space. I'm gonna be taking some classes soon. I've been feeling a little stressed, so I'm gonna be doing some wellness classes, some exercise classes, or I'm gonna do a retreat, or I'm gonna be doing some just more me time, more quiet time to kind of work on myself. So if you don't hear from me, I love you, wish you well. Um, I'll reach out in like a month. I'm just going to be pulling back to do something. It doesn't matter if they like it, but you've told them, I'm taking a month off to kind of regulate myself. I have some things that I'm planning on, so no need to worry. That's just what's going on with me. So you kind of give them something, and it's great if we can have the strong response right off the bat of, you know, I need to disengage. I'm going to tell them I'm going to just not be their friend or whatever. Sometimes we do need to do that, but we don't know how to do it. But those are steps. And I actually did that myself. I had to have steps because it was a muscle I was developing. So first I gave myself some breathing room, right? So you give yourself like a month. That's a lot of time you can breathe. It's fantastic. So you give yourself a time frame so you can start thinking and assessing and looking at your dynamic with this person. What do you need? And think about what you need. Is this a healthy connection? Is this, feel good? What will help me ultimately feel safe and more in control with this dynamic with this person? So you've created space, you've set a boundary. It doesn't matter if they like it or not, you continue to uphold that boundary. I said a month. I'm going to talk to you in a month. I got these things going on. I'm just busy. I love you. Bye. That's it, right? You just keep, that's, and it doesn't matter if they like it. And, but it gives yourself a place to start. And then you look at, okay, how can I find my voice? Maybe I need a speaking class. Maybe I need the martial arts. Maybe I need some sports. Maybe I need to start going to the gym. Maybe I need to journal every night the things I know I need to say to feel more safe within myself. Because when we don't have boundaries, we don't feel as safe. Ultimately, deep inside, you don't feel as safe, right? It's scary. There's no safe container. So you keep looking at, this is what I wish I could say. And start getting in touch with, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. And I'm going to figure it out, right? So that's a way you can do it with others, and then start developing your plan. So I want to talk about society. So in society, there's a lot of things that could be very, very stressful on the psyche, on the emotional body, on the mind, and scary, right? Okay, so finding actions for yourself that make you feel empowered. I'm going to give some examples. For me, like in the world, I like to support teens and women a lot, and kids. So if I feel like, okay, I don't want to be worried about domestic violence, I want to find a way to help. So what I do is I see those women and those families. I see the women as getting empowered and safe and finding the resources they need. So first I developed that mindset. So you can project this out into anything that you need to, but I'm giving you this example of domestic violence because I work with that to empower women through self-defense, and through support groups. Like this is the kind of stuff I like to try to put some support towards the healing. So I would look at them as empowered. So rather than focusing on the victimization, I want to focus on the solution. So I'm going to see them as powerful as possible, and I'm going to do something. Okay, so what can I do? It's one of the reasons I teach self-defense. One of the many, but that's one of them, is I want to empower people of all ages to realize they have the right to feel safe. You know, they have the right to have boundaries for their bodies. They have the right to say no. They have the right to get out of a situation that feels sketchy or scary. You know, to know how to see something that doesn't feel and see right. Okay, so I see them as empowered, and I see them. So in my actions, I do something. You can volunteer. There's wonderful things, ways you can volunteer. There's a whole organization. I know someone that does it, but they, through the court system, there's a training you go through, and then you can be the person that helps advocate for a woman that has to go to court, you know, for something, whether it's a custody thing that has been through domestic violence. And I thought that was so amazing when I heard that. My heart was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So there's that, there's shelters, there's always ways to volunteer. And so looking at that, finding ways to do an action that helps you feel like you are helping, even if it's just, you feel like it's so small, it doesn't matter. Holding that support in your mind that there will be solutions. Seeing those people, you know, sending them love from your heart, you know, sending them healing from your heart, you know, beautiful healing energy. Doing whatever calls to you to create some awareness, to create some support, finding ways to volunteer. There's always things we can do. And even the smallest amount of support is felt. And then that way, I'm not projecting fear for those people. I am making physical, mental, emotional efforts to support their healing. And let that fear go. Okay? It helps no one. So before we do our guided meditation, I want to read a quick advertisement, a little commercial break for the radio station, because they have some wonderful shows. I love the shows that they have here, so I want to share this with you. This one's called Riffin' with Nate and Josh. It's on Thursdays at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's hosted by Nate and Josh, or Joss. I hope I'm saying that right. Joss. Listen in as local married couple Nate and Joss play, discuss, and sometimes disagree. How fun is that? About great music. During this eclectic 1-hour show featuring rock, pop, punk, indie, and more, they share their song of the week, explore themes and connections both obvious and obscure, and improvise song selections and colorful commentary. What could go wrong? Send compliments and theme suggestions to Nate and Joss at gmail.com. That's NATEANDJOS at gmail.com. That sounds fantastic. I love a married couple doing something like that together. I think that's just really quite lovely. So again, my name's Michelle Love. If you ever have questions for me about the show, you know, please email me. I love to brainstorm or break down topics, things that people are struggling with. emotional patterns that have been hard. So you can always email me at dcwellness88@gmail.com. That's dcwellness88@gmail.com. You can also visit my website, dynamicchange.wellness.com. And but please, I really am here to offer as much support in the wellness field as possible. So now we've talked this whole show about releasing fear and finding ways to surrender. I gave you some examples of how life can present challenging situations that can cause us to feel fearful, right? So now I want to do a long guided meditation on releasing some fear. All right, so you can do this with me now. I'm going to have you put your feet on the floor if you're sitting down. You can lay down on the floor if you want. You could do these guided meditations anytime throughout the day. You could do them in the morning to kind of set your day with a focus. You can do them at night before you go to bed. But you can continuously listen to the show. I upload all my shows to my YouTube channel. It's Michelle Love with Dynamic Change and Wellness. And so you can, you know, join the YouTube channel, but you can watch all the different shows. But I try to label the ones that have like extended guided meditations, so you know they're usually towards the end of the show. Okay, so we're gonna take some deep breaths. You can close your eyes if you want. Take a deep, deep, deep breath into your body. Hold that breath, and then exhale. You can also imagine blowing out the air through like a straw. So it's like kind of a focused breath of exhale. Inhale. Inhale through your nose as deep as you can. Hold it for a moment. Exhale through the straw. Pause for a moment and then get ready to inhale. And exhale. This next time when we exhale, we're going to do like a shh, like we're saying shh, be quiet with our mouth, okay? Inhale deeply. Hold it for a moment and exhale with the shh. One more time. Exhale with a shh. And then a relaxed inhale. And exhale. Another deep inhale. And exhale. And this last exhale, we're going to do it like a humming sound. Inhale. Exhale. Good. So continuously breathe. You can keep your eyes closed. Keep deep breathing. And I want you to relax your mind. As you do this, I want you to think of something you want to release fear around. It could be an issue out in the world. It can be a population of, like, you know, I gave my example of survivors of domestic violence. It can be it could be just releasing hatred in the world. It could be, you know, something that supports fear, you know, brings a fear response in your body, or just something, you know, a lot of people struggle with that produces fear. We're going to focus on healing that. Let that go. Okay, so I want you to think of what you're going to heal, right? And I give you all kinds of examples. This can be stuff that feels like you have no control over in your life. It could be a dynamic with a person. But what we're going to do is we're going to think of that thing. It can be just fear itself. It can be a dynamic. It can be a situation. But I want you to imagine putting that visualization, we're going to visualize it, that fear, that dynamic, that action that maybe that person does that makes us feel afraid, and we're just going to imagine it in like a bubble in front of us, outside of our body. And then what we're going to do is we are going to send healing to that bubble. And this is our action. It gives us something to do to help shift it, right? Because if we have an action, it helps to let go of fear. Not having something to do to help resolve that is part of the fear dynamic, right? Feeling helpless, right? We're going to take power with this. So what you're going to do is with your mind and with your breath, you're going to be fierce. I want you to tap into your fierceness. Fierce. You are going to do something to burn up that fear, to shift it, to change it. So you're going to send it some healing energy. So let's send it some green with our breath, with our mind. Blast it with green. So we're going to inhale. Sending that green out to that fear, to that bubble. And it just pops the bubble, and it just, sends this beautiful, beautiful color to help create shifts and change and healing. Taking another breath. And you can send another color if you want. I like fire. So we could always send fire, to burn it up. Just burn it up. We want to just break it up, It's like putting it in the fireplace and just let it dissolve. Let it just melt. And it can be transformed in something better, right? So you can send fire at it. Just burn it up. Happy fire. Send it happy fire. Now let's blast it with love. Ooh. Okay, love is strong. Love is really, really, really strong. It's got a more powerful feeling. When we feel love, it is so, you can feel it in every part of your body. So think of something that you love so much and give that love a color. If you want to make it pink, red, purple, orange, give it a beautiful color. Now inhale, blast it with love. See that love extend out into the world, go beyond the bubble, and just see it go out into the world. Now we're going to send happy or peace or joy, whatever you want. Imagine a huge ball of happy, joy, love. Think of something that makes you just feel so good. We got to manifest it. If we don't feel it enough, you're going to create it right now. So I want you to think of something, whether it's the puppy or your kid or your loved one. Or, I feel this way when I drum. I feel this way when I paint. And if you don't have any joy, I want you to imagine it. You create it, okay? So bring up joy, happy, and blast it with happy. And send that out into the world. Now see that bubble just melt and shift and change into something beautiful. Maybe you made a rainbow. Maybe it dissolved into beautiful color. Maybe it burst into flower petals. Maybe you saw the flower petals fall down and they represented kindness to you. Maybe the color just shifted and shifted and shifted. So we're going to keep shifting and keep focusing in our mind the thoughts we want to create. And I look forward to seeing you next week. More guided meditations. We'll be doing resilience. I am so grateful for all you do in life. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.